How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and I am your host as always. I am using this podcast to document my journey in real estate and business while also talking about travel hacking and personal finance. Today is going to be one of those real estate episodes on why you should not wait to buy a home, and that there's different strategies out there to be able to buy now, because it's never going to be as easy as it is to buy a home as it is right now. So I'm going to get into that here in a second. But before I do that, go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I post daily about what I'm doing, what's going on in my journey. And you can find the podcast on all Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube, and go check out figuringitoutfinance.com, where you'll find all of those links. So today's episode, just got done running around, checked on all three properties today. Flip number 2, that one we are getting preps for an inspection tomorrow, hopefully. And then the other 2, just walking them with the general contractor, getting a scope of work done for all of them. So super long day, and, just trying to close it out, getting the insurance ready. So, it's been a long one today, but as I posted yesterday on Instagram and TikTok, why should you not wait to buy a home? So there's so many different strategies to be able to buy a home currently, but the biggest reason is because people are trying to wait until it becomes affordable. Well, the problem is it's never going to become affordable. They're waiting for interest rates to lower. It's like, okay, but the interest rate is going to lower, but the price of the home is going to go up. And then if the price of the home goes down, the interest rate is probably going to be pretty high. It's never going to be a perfect world to where houses are $100,000 and, on 2 and 3% interest. It's just never going to happen again. Because if you've kept track of the housing market the past, forever, it's always going up. Interest rates are always going all over the place. So with the affordable housing, it's just making it tougher to buy a home. And that seems a little bit backwards, but the affordable housing, what they're doing is they're trying to build more homes. So what happens is it normally affects another area. So homes become more expensive. They're not just going to become, because you're competing with newer prices. So, they're not just going to build a brand new home and put it on a discount, because that doesn't make sense in the builders, because the builders have to get paid. They know their spread. So they're just making sure that there's enough supply. So with new homes being built in the area, that's just going to force appreciation all over the place, raising housing prices. And all of a sudden you're saying, well, that house is too expensive. And then this one over here, if we bought it 5 years ago, and those things start to happen, it becomes the I should have rather than I took the opportunity. So a big part of this is the opportunity cost that you're losing. So that's what I mean is, if you keep waiting, one of these things is going to happen. Interest rates bounce all over the place depending on where the market is at. And then housing prices are just going to keep going up. Everybody's trying to wait till the next market collapse. But the problem is, in a market collapse, it's like a burning building. You're not going to be running towards the burning building. You're going to be running away. So in that case, it's easy to say to somebody like, oh, I'm just waiting for the housing to go a little bit lower. But the problem is, it's not going to. And if it does, and there's major problems, you're not going to be looking at that as the time to buy. You're going to be looking as, oh, well, I'm so glad I'm not in real estate. And then in 5 years, when those house prices go back up, the interest rates drops, you're going to be like, man, I wish I really bought during that time, because hindsight is 2020. So you're having that opportunity cost of saying, man, I should have bought 5 years ago. And in 5 years, you're going to be saying, I wish I bought 5 years ago. So this is very location, I would say location dependent. This is going to be every single market, unless a market just completely collapses. And then in that case, you have bigger problems. So think about the opportunity cost in buying a home, because it is never going to be as easy as it is today. It's never going to be as affordable as it is today. The market is never going to be perfect, so you better jump in. So I want to talk about a couple strategies and products about how you can get in right now, because I'm all about problem solving. So the first is going to be low money down loans. So FHA, you can put down 3.5%. So they're, you take your income, you go to the bank, you say, hey, I just want to get pre-qualified to buy a home. So they're going to run you through a bunch of questions. They're going to ask you to submit a bunch of things. And yes, it might be a little bit of a headache, which people use as a crutch to say, oh, well, it's just too difficult. So it's not. Just submit what they tell you to. It's going to be fine. And then you'll be able to, if you qualify for it, the Federal Housing Association, you're able to buy a home with 3.5% down. So that's very, very low. So let's just use the example of a $200,000 house. So let's see, 100,000, 3.5. So you're looking at about 7,000 down, under 10,000. Now I think that's easily achievable to do. And then there's even another way to do this called a conventional loan. So they go as low as 3%, and that's what I bought my personal property on. So I know how low it can go. I only had to put down around $5,000 for my personal home, and it was a little bit of a fixer-upper. And I'm looking to have somebody, co-sign for me, and where I'm going to have to be putting 5% down. So those are conventional loans. So in FHA, it's going to be a little bit more, as in there's going to be more inspections, a little bit more rules, probably a little bit more paperwork, but you can put 3.5% down. You could go the conventional route where it's 3 to 3.5% down, or 3 to 5% down, And then there's also this thing called a 203K loan. So a 203K loan is when you're looking at a house and you're like, man, this needs some work, but it's going to be really, really good. Or it's going to be a really good deal, whether that's a duplex, a single family home. What you're able to do is you're able to go to the bank. If you get pre-qualified to get a 203K loan, here's how you can use it, and here's what it is. So you can use that loan for the purchase price and the renovation of a property, and it is going to be managed by the bank's people on... I haven't exactly done it, but you can use this loan to be able to buy a fixer-upper and have them do the fixing up. So that's a very easy way to get a rougher house in a better neighborhood and a better price overall. And there's several different guys to be able to follow. The 203K way is a good one. He posts 203K tips, how they're doing it, why they're doing it. And there's certain products to where you don't have to make a mortgage payment for 12 months while this process is going on. So, that's another way to take advantage of a fixer-upper home. And also, one of the ways that I've looked at it, I wasn't able to do it, but there's a ton of fixer-upper houses where you're like, yeah, this one maybe not livable. But what you could do is you could bundle all of those costs together. So they give you that purchase price. Let's just say it's $125,000. Let's say you need $75,000 for the renovations. They go and manage that process to where they're going in, renovating the home, doing everything they need to bring it to that value, and then they roll all of that $200,000 into one loan. So that's how the 203K loan works. So on top of the FHA and 3 to 5% conventional loan, something that I'm utilizing right now, my partner, he is co-signing for me. So he has a normal W-2 job in sales. He's going to be able to qualify for a pretty solid house. And since I do not qualify for a loan, what that means is I'm not going to be able to buy a house with the bank. So I either have to look for a cosigner or I have to be creative. So I'm not afraid of either, but but we are going down the road of co-signing. He brought it up to me, and so what he's going to do is he's going to get pre-qualified with a lender to be able to buy a home, and then he's going to be co-signing for me, just like your parents would do with an apartment if you're in college. You don't have the income coming in, so they need somebody with that income coming in per month to be able to rely on if you happen to end up not paying your payments. So that is the idea of a cosigner, and it just does the same thing for housing. So I can qualify and put down 5% on a conventional loan, and this person's income will be how I can qualify to buy this house. Now, I'll be coming down with the 5%. However, I'm also not having to go through the bank and get pre-qualified and, have my documents checked, because with my income and being a business owner, I wouldn't be able to buy a home with that bank. So having a cosigner is a creative way to be able to do that, and you're definitely able to do that. So this is how people buy houses in college without actually, having a job. So, and one of the other strategies, the last one I'm going to talk about, that is one of the big ones, is house hacking. So I talk about house hacking all the time. So house hacking is simply living in one part of your house or in one unit and renting out the other unit, as in a duplex. So you live in one, you rent out the other. That is house hacking, cutting down on your monthly mortgage. Let's just say your mortgage is $2,000 a month, and you can rent that one next door for $1,500. So instead of paying $2,000, you're using that income of $1,500 to be able to cut down on your monthly expense, making your payment only $500. So that's better than renting. That's just better than buying a single family home. And the best thing that you can do if people want to go extreme, they buy a big house with a lot of rooms, cut up the living room, add 2 more bedrooms, and then rent out all of the rooms so that they're actually making money off of this. So that's not exactly what I did, but what I did, I had a small 2-bed, 1-bath. I lived in one, or I used one bedroom, and I rented out the other for $700 a month when my mortgage was $1,200. So that cut my payment from $1,200 all the way down to $500. So that's a huge. It's like, why would you not be doing this? Especially for people that are looking to save more money every month. It's like, is that $5 coffee you have, 3-4 times a week really going to do it? No, you're going to save $20. So let's just say you go crazy and you're saving $50 a week. So in 1 month, so that's $200, and you're probably not enjoying it. So go after your largest expense, which is your housing. I saved $700 in a small 2-bed, 1-bath house. Now, if you have a house where you have more bedrooms, you can cut up the living room and get a little uncomfortable for a while. You could easily be bringing in over $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and possibly living for free or getting paid to live there. And that is the power of house hacking. So it's just using one of these creative strategies to be able to purchase the home, whether that's a 203K loan, FHA, a low money down conventional loan, or using a cosigner to be able to buy a home. And then you can house hack to where you're actually making that money back. Say I did this, off of renting my one home, I brought in $8,400 for the entire year, and I put less money than that down on my home. I probably put around $5,000 total for the home. So, making $8,400 and cutting that off of my bill for the year, that easily comes back to me. So house hacking is easily the way to go, and the best way to do that, if you're married, look for multiple units, whether that's a duplex, triplex, quadplex. Maybe there's an ADU in the backyard, or a mother-in-law suite, or a finished basement with a kitchen that you could put in a kitchenette. There's so many different ways to house hack, and that's why I get so amped up about it, because I follow all the financial freedom people, and they're like, yeah, you could save $20. You could put it in the stock market. It's like, cut the crap. and just buy a house where you can, save $700 or $1,000 a month. Even if you're saving $500 a month off of this house hack, you're doing so much more than if you're just trying to nickel and dime yourself. And you're going to be able to live the life that you want to live, even if you have to get uncomfortable for a while. So always, always, always look for the opportunity to house hack, to cut down on that biggest expense, which is your housing. So that's another reason to track all of your expenses, whether it's for a short time, for a year, and then just be able to understand where your money's going and where it is going out. So do not wait to buy a home, because if you're looking at the opportunity cost, it's never going to be easier than it is today. Even if it's a little bit muddy and unclear about how to do that, where the market's at, there's always going to be a million excuses. So don't wait. Look into these products and go out and do it. So that is the opportunity cost. And then there's so many different products on how to buy a home for little to no money down, even not using your income and having a cosigner. And then you should be looking for opportunities with multiple units, lots of bedrooms, to be able to house hack. Even if it's a 3-bedroom house, you could rent out 2 of those units for $500 to $700, maybe even more in some cities. And that is going to almost completely cover the mortgage. So house hack, use these products, and think about the opportunity cost, that it is never going to be as easy as it is today. So that is wrapping up episode 84 of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Use these strategies. Do not wait to purchase a home. And I'll be back on Friday with another episode of the podcast as I wrap up get into a very busy week here, looking to close on 2 homes next week. So, getting all the numbers, all of the insurance, everything in line to be able to get cracking on those. It's going to be fun. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back again on Friday with another episode. So this is Chris Rickenbaugh signing off.